for this one, it is a standalone now in my mind. Hey y'all, my name is Nat. I hope you're having a terrific day today, and for this video we are going to be checking out the series that I have finished and the series that I have decided to DNF. Alright, before you get to anything bookish, make sure to hit like and subscribe down below, as well as tell me in the comments what was the most recent series that you finished. I just want y'all to see that Sam is being a bit of a spaz, so if there's background noise, that's why. So this is going to be my second round of doing a series of series, a idea which I got from Dasha at Mythic Pages. Put a link to her in the cards. She hasn't been posting much lately, so hopefully this will encourage her to come back. I did one of these roughly 2 years ago, so we are going to be starting out a new round. For this video, we are going to be talking about the series that I have finished, as well as the ones I decided not to finish, at least in the time since I last filmed a series of series update. I actually have these listed chronologically, so let's go ahead and dive right in. First up, I read The Trouble with Hating You duology by Sajni Patel and actually finished that one out. Then I tried to read the Ravens duology by Kaz Morgan and Danielle Page, but unfortunately I finished the first book and that was kind of enough for me. I had no real drive to pick up the sequel, so I just decided to leave it there. I thought I had completed the Aunties series by 𝗖cieः𝘁𝘁 with the second book, but turns out apparently they are coming out with a third book. The quirkiness and fun of this series worked really well in the first one. In the second one, it started to push just a bit too much, so I really don't plan on picking up the third one. I just feel like it's going to be unbearable there. Unfortunately, I DNF'd that series. The next one is kind of complicated because on one hand, I did DNF this series, but on the other hand, I also sort of completed it. That is The Good Girl's Guide to Murder series by Holly Jackson. I loved the first two books. I attempted to read the third, found it both predictable as well as just too out there in comparison to what the rest of the series had promised. So I decided to DNF the third book. This is one of those that's weird where I like DNF'd it but also sort of completed it. Then I attempted to start into the Sherlock Holmes series by Brittany Cavallaro, which is a quartet, I believe. But after the first book, no, I had no interest in the rest of it, which is a real shame because the idea of this series was perfectly up my alley. I mean, Sherlock Holmes retelling, modern day. It was quoted to me as enemies to lovers. No, this was not enemies to lovers. This was like a slight dislike. And even then, I would say that's kind of pushing it. First book was more than enough for me. Then we have the Romance Book Club series, which is one that I completed this series. I have read the 5 books which detail the romances of the 5 guys in this series. Technically, there is going to be a 6th book coming out. Is the book that the book club was reading in the first book, where we had excerpts of that book within the first book, Romance Book Club. I have no interest in that book. I believe it's a historical romance, which isn't super my bag. I usually need something else added to it to really draw me into those sort of stories, and I don't see that happening here. I'm fairly certain that is going to be the last book of the series. I don't think 𝗖cie K. Adams has another plan for a contemporary book within the series. Another one that's kind of, I did complete the series, but I also sort of am DNFing it because I'm not gonna read the last book. A romance series I did 100% finish, even including all the little stories. The Winston Brothers by Penny Reed. I know, isn't that so shocking? Because I couldn't shut up about this series like all last year and a bit of this year. I read 8 out of the 8 books and I loved every single one of them. Still working on collecting them. Next was a graphic novel series, Nen Omen by Marco Bucci. Technically, Nen Omen only has 3 graphic novels in it, but it is then continued by another series called Arcadia, which I think is actively still going and has another 3 graphic novel volumes. I have no interest in Arcadia. Nen Omen was fine enough. Kind of took some turns I wasn't really enjoying anymore. Once again, kind of completed, I completed Nen Omen. I did not complete the spin-off series, but like depending on what list you look at, it sort of is more me DNFing it. It's weird. I completed the Sunshine Vikram series by Darinda Jones, which is a trilogy, and I really enjoyed it. So glad I could definitely see myself rereading that series. Now I need to get into her next series. I think that one's gonna be like a 10-book series, and we're only on book 4 currently of what's been published, so that'll be a project. Another romance series that I think I have completed is the Well Met series by Jen DeLuca. As far as I'm aware, she capped it out at 4. Unfortunately, the 4th book was a bit of a letdown for me, but I don't think any more are coming out in the series, so I've completed it. I also completed the Brush with Love series by Maisie Eddings. With the 3rd book, a +1, ironically, I got a arc of every single one of these, so I never actually bought or like checked out from my library any of these books, but I enjoyed all of them. And I'm very hopeful that her new adult romance book will also become a series, because that first one is going to be sapphic and I'm very excited. Also have an arc of it. One that hurt so bad to DNF was Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez. I don't know if that's necessarily the name of the series, but the first book was Part of Your World, the second was Yours Truly. They are technically companion books. I think another book will be coming out, but I'm not 100% sure. However, after 2 serious misses from me, Abby Jimenez and I have officially broken up. So if there are more in the series, I'm DNFing it. I completed the SpiderGwen 2015 run by Jason Latour whenever I was doing my 24-hour comic book reading vlog back in May. That was great. There were 9 volumes, including a few side stories, so that was a bit of a project. Same with Harley Quinn, the 2013 run by Amanda Connor and Jimmy Palmiotti. This one, I think the same authors have another run which starts up in 2019, and I am interested in trying that one out. I just haven't started it yet. Another romance series that I did really enjoy, but unfortunately left on a disappointing last note, was the Say Everything series by Ronnie Lauren. The first 2 books were so freaking good, and the 3rd one was not it for me. I'm still sad, but if Ronnie Lauren comes out with any new books that are sort of hitting the same vein, I will be picking those up. I did decide to DNF the Shadow Game series by Amanda Foody. The first book was fine, but I really wasn't that invested into it to push through another 2 books in the series. That's a shame. As I mentioned, Abby Jimenez and I broke up when I attempted to read one of her other books that wasn't a part of the Part of Your World series. The 3rd book in the Friend Zone series, I want to say it's Life's Too Short. That one also drove me insane for very similar reasons to Yours Truly. Off of that, like I said, I'm not reading any more of her books, and I DNF'd that Friend Zone series. I tried the first book in the Pies Before Guys series by Misha Pop, and it was fine. This is one of those where I can't decide if I actually do enjoy cozy mysteries or not. The first one was decent, and I've heard from people who love the first one that the second one was a letdown, so I'm not gonna bother pushing through it. Sadly, another awkward completed / DNF was the Kingdom of Souls trilogy by Brenna Barron. I really enjoyed the first 2 books. I started the 3rd and just wasn't having it. It wasn't going well. And after conferring with Ray at Bookmark Chronicles, I decided I should just DNF it. And I'm still bitter that I wasted time enjoying those first 2 books when the series ended on such a letdown. So I DNF'd the 3rd book, and you know, I kind of DNF'd the series, but also kind of completed it. I did complete the Miss Marvel series by G. Willow Wilson with the 10th volume. This is another one that I want to pick up more of Miss Marvel's stuff, but I think the author team in this series kind of just, they were building, they kind of went stagnant, they built, they got pretty decent, and then they dropped right back down at the end. So I'm interested to see if maybe new writers would do this character better. Haven't gotten around to starting that one yet, but at least I completed this one. And then finally, the latest one is a DNF for the None Shall Sleep series by Ellie Marney, which I am still sad about. I really enjoyed the first book. I started into the second and ended up DNFing it. I also found out that apparently there will be a 3rd book planned, and no, I will not be touching it. Another bummer where the series starts so great and then it just goes downhill. That is like so heartbreaking whenever it happens. For this one, it is a standalone now in my mind. All right, and that is it. So in the last 2 years, I have finished 13 series and I have DNF'd 9, which is pretty great. I love that I've made so much progress on the series I've been working on, because I was in the middle of so many of them at the beginning of the year. I have gotten better about staying on top of them this year, so I will allow myself to start new ones in 2024. I need to stay on top of them. I've been also trying to stay on top of like new release ones for ones I'm in the middle of, but we're not going to talk about those yet. Check out the next video for what series I'm currently in the middle of. All right, y'all, so that is it for today. Thank you so much for coming to my channel. I really appreciate it. Make sure to hit like and subscribe down below. I have all my socials as well as a few ways you can support me linked in the description. I come out with videos on Monday and Friday, but until then, I hope you continue to have a terrific day. Love you, bye!